Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. A second stream today? Is that a glitch? Something like that. Maybe. I'm Jason Aponte. For the first time, we are going to have a call-in show for the members of the Spicy Squad. I'm super excited. Shout out to Bryant. He's the newest member. And if you guys are here and you want to send in your questions for the people that are members, go check the community post. I sent the link in there. You have to be a member to get the link. That's the only place that I could send it where only you guys would get it. You guys take your time, jump in. I have some guests planned today. Who knows how many will show up, but I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, join the Spicy Squad if you want to get, your questions in. Got a few people that have joined today who obviously want to discuss some things. We can talk about whatever you want, not limited to anything, not limited to any one team or any topic. If you want to talk free agency, you want to talk draft, you want to talk the 49ers, you want to talk Deebo Samuel, you want to talk Jimmy Garoppolo, whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. So shout out to everybody that's in here. But without further ado, I'm going to bring on my first guest that's going to be here. Now, it seems like he might be the first call in, but let's just see how this plays out real quick. So,
hello.
Hi, buddy.
What up? It is me. How you doing?
What is this sprint right option on Sunday, man? Like, it's like Inception. It's like a dream inside of a dream inside of a dream, man. Like, and right now, this is what we got going on.
Hey, it's the Jason Aponte YouTube channel. You don't know what'll ever happen here. This is pretty fun. It's pretty exciting. I'm excited to be here in a not sprint right option-y way. I'm just excited to talk to Jason Aponte about football. My two favorite things in life, Jason Aponte and football. So anytime I get to do both at the same time, it's a good time.
Andrew is always effusive with praise of me. So if you think this is some sort of act, you should see the text messages I get from him. And that
you don't want to see them.
Yeah, no, this pales in comparison to what this man actually sends me behind closed doors. Anyway, Andrew Squeenie, everyone loves your takes. Everyone needs your takes. I need your take. While we wait for people to come in and click the link, which is in the community tab, you guys can go check it out. I dropped it for the people who are only in the Spicy Squad, so you can click it, get yourself ready, and we'll bring you on one by one. But Andrew, today, this lovely Sunday, I mean, it's super cold over here on the East Coast, so I don't know if it's so lovely. I'm sure it was much more lovely over there, especially since it's only 5:30.
It's pretty cloudy,
on this,
to be honest.
Yeah, all right. Well, on this lovely Sunday where right now people are watching NCAA, possibly the Oscars. We've got a few people here with us. The news today was from Bleacher Report, and more specifically, the person who set this off, Jose Sanchez of All 49ers SI, started all of this. So if you have anyone to direct your anger to, I would direct it to him because I already have on the timeline. But the New York Jets are keeping an eye on A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel. Andrew, what does that mean to you?
It goes with everything I ever say about the offseason. It's everything means nothing until it means something, and nothing means everything until it means nothing. I wouldn't be surprised with the current trend of the situation at the wide receiver position where players are getting paid. You saw the Christian Kirk contract that kind of kicked this all off, and then Devontae Adams gets traded to the Raiders. He gets that massive extension. Tyreek Hill gets traded to the Dolphins. He gets that massive extension. It's a smart move by the Jets because the three receivers they're looking at are guys that are coming up on their fifth-year option, and Brown and Metcalf and Deebo. And it makes sense to try and extend them before, the Niners or whatever team it may be gets that option. So I don't blame the Jets for I guess kicking the tires on the 49ers receiver. Whether or not anything happens, I doubt it. Like it's a smart thing. Like I don't like it when these reports come out of teams kicking the tires on players, because good front offices do this, right? People like to criticize the Niners for kicking tires on everybody. But I just think good front offices do that. And this is just a sign of the Jets being a good front office for once, because it feels like this is a very offensive move by the Jets. Instead of waiting for someone to fall in their laps, they're going out and trying to pursue it. So maybe it's a solid mindset, maybe he's changed a little bit over there in New York.
Well, I think it's a little bit of this as well, and I think you hit on it, right. And I made the point earlier on the show with Jordan. There's probably 30 other teams that have their eyes on AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and Debo Samuel. Like, it's not even necessarily speculation or report. It's almost matter of fact, basically, right.
Yeah.
And Rich Samini, who is the Jets insider, somebody who I know is tapped in. I live here on the East Coast. He's one of the most respected Jets beats guy. He's not pulling this out of anywhere. So I'm sure he's getting this from the front office that they are watching and they're looking. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because if you read the article, he literally says there is nothing imminent, nothing, and they're not even available, anything like that. But I think what I really took away from the article when I actually read it was Rich was outlining that there are ties to all of these guys based on the Jets staff and players.
Mhm.
Elijah Moore, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown all went to Ole Miss. There's your first obvious one, right? And then there's the Debo with the 49ers old coaches, Saleh, LaFleur, all of those guys. They're running a variation of Shanahan's things. So it was more Samini talking about something that he heard from the front office, something that is pretty matter of fact when you think about other teams and what they actually are probably thinking. They're probably thinking the same thing, like, why don't we call the 49ers to see what's up with Debo, and see what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Because teams have done dumb things. I'm not saying the 49ers have, but you don't shoot a shoot. So you call and you see what's going on with that. But there's nothing imminent. And I think that that's the point, is that nobody said he's available. I think it was more the article was outlining the ties to the teams and how this actually correlates towards the Jets, because it was reported that the Jets were very much in on Tyreek Hill for a similar package that the Miami Dolphins sent away.
Yeah, and like, I see a lot of people in the chat talking about extinction level smoke, all that stuff, and it's the type of stuff I understand it, because this is a nothing story, right? It's the Jets are interested in good receivers. Shocker, right? I'm sure I can report right now that the San Francisco 49ers, they're interested in Aaron Donald, right? I wouldn't doubt it, right? Makes sense. They need a defensive tackle. Aaron Donald's the best one. I'm sure they're very interested in him. It obviously means nothing, because the Rams aren't going to move on from Aaron Donald. So it's one of those things where it's just some speculation. The Jets were interested in a receiver. The three that were listed make sense. And the only reason they're mentioned is their receivers. Now, should we take anything into it? No, but is it a fun conversation to have? Absolutely. I think these types of conversations are fun, because whether we like it or not, Niner fans and just sporting fans, I'm sure the conversation has come up within the 49ers organization about what price they would deal a Debo Samuel. What price would they deal a George Kittle? I'm sure these conversations come up, because I think you like to be prepared for anything. Now, does it mean the Niners are looking to trade Debo Samuel? Absolutely not. I don't think they are. Does it mean the Niners are looking to trade George Kittle? Absolutely not. But these are all things that get talked about. That's just what they are. Teams are going to kick tires. The Niners are going to kick tires about kicking tires, and that's just kind of where this is. It's a fun conversation point for content creators and podcasters, and even the media has fun with these conversations. So that's all it is. It's fun. It's fun talk.
Well, and then the other thing is the front office gets criticized for not thoroughly exploring everything. The joke that we have around in 49ers Twitter, and you guys know, what is John Lynch the best at in terms of everything? It's called due diligence, right? So it's almost, we criticize them sometimes for not exploring all of the options. And then this one time, all they're doing is discussing it. I'm sure they've had a conversation in their office about, okay, if we can't sign Debo, then what do we move him for? It's not something like we need to move him. It's what are the options? How can we run through this? And that's all it is. That's all it is. Looks like we got our first caller actually call in. This is history right here, because Jason Aponte has never had a call in ever. And it's somebody who I respect their football IQ, somebody who's been down, always very supportive, man. Really appreciate him. Let's bring in Eric, Bay Area baller. What's happening, bro?
Hey, what's up, fellas? A big fan of the Sprint Right Option pod. So the fact that I get the chance to call in and talk to you guys, Jay, I appreciate all the fantasy advice you've been giving me over the last couple years. And, hey, I'm excited to talk some ball. And first off, let's not waste any time. I want to know from you two, what players do you think stock on the 49ers? What players' stock is just going to skyrocket after this next season?
Ooh.
Okay, that's a good one. Andrew, do you want to start, or do you want to?
You know what? I'm a big believer in Azeez Al-Shaair. We saw his stock go up a bit more this this season compared to the seasons previous, because he actually got that chance at linebacker. I feel like he's a guy that he'll be as good as he really gets the chances to. I don't think it was a coincidence that he got a good amount of snaps in 2021, and we saw how good he can be. I think if he continues to get these kinds of snaps, I think he's really going to take over for what Dre Greenlaw was in terms of how much Niner fans love him. Because I don't blame why Niner fans love Dre Greenlaw so much because of that play in 2019. I think we tend to overrate him a little bit because of it, but that's okay. That's not for me to judge. So I'll go Azeez Al-Shaair. I think the mountain or the peak is still in the future. I don't think we're anywhere near to watching him kind of drop a little bit.
And shout out to Brian plugging Eric's channel. Make sure that you guys subscribe to him. Eric is the leader of the Arden Key Hive also. So remember, there was plenty of people who jumped on later. Eric was on it first. You got to give this man his flowers when it comes to that. For me, I'm going to say Emmanuel Mosley. I think that what he did last year was incredible. And I think that the fact that so many other guys, whoever was on the other side was the guy who was targeted. And when he was missed, there was fans that were like, hey, man, we need to get Mosley back, like right now. It was that dire. You lose Jason Verrett in the first game. Emmanuel Mosley becomes your most seasoned veteran. He played great last year. And he's only building that sort of confidence. Now, when you pair him with someone else that you really can't target, I think this really bodes well for Emmanuel Mosley at this point. Him and Ward on both sides, they have a similar story in terms of undrafted free agents, guys who got it out the mud and they're moving in the right direction. I think Emmanuel Mosley is really making a name for himself in this league, in a league where there are maybe 2 or 3 true lockdown corners. Everybody else is in the same kind of boat because it is hard to cover this bunch of receivers. I had a discussion with my brother yesterday over dinner, and this may be a hot take, over why I believe this group, these last 2-3 years group of NFL draft wide receivers are probably the best of all time. And I can make the argument that all of these guys, yes. You're looking at like Justin Jefferson and you're looking at A.J. Brown and all of these guys. And when you look at the talent that they bring, I understand there's more to it than talent. This group excites me the most. So you're gonna need cover guys going down the line here because these guys are only gonna get better. Justin Jefferson has the most yards ever for any player in his first 2 years, and he didn't even start his first 2 games in that season.
Cooper Kupp ain't going nowhere.
Right. Cooper Kupp's not going anywhere. You know DK Metcalf is still a baller. You know A.J. Brown is. Look at Deebo Samuel. We're talking about Terry McLaurin. We are talking about a group of wide receivers right now that whether they get their props or not, like DJ Moore is 24 years old, and he has 3 1,000-yard seasons in a row with God knows who at quarterback. This is a beautiful age of wide receivers. So this is why I say that Emmanuel Mosley is a guy who is going to skyrocket because he rarely gets beat. He's very dependable. And this team missed him when he left. So that would be my question. I mean, Eric, you're the only one that's called in. If you want to keep talking and keep vibing, let's do it, man. Anything else that's on your mind right now?
Well, I got a few players that I wanted to mention, and I definitely like the Azeez Al-Shaair pick, Andrew. I'm a big Al-Shaair guy. I covet him probably a little bit more than Greenlaw. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think Azeez, he's a restricted free agent right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if some team wanted to come in and really wanted to come and swoop in on him, that's possible.
Yes, the team would have to give up a second, right?
Second rounder for him. Yeah. They put the second round tender on him, and if they don't match, then they get a second rounder. I don't think people are ready to pay that premium for him, especially on top of paying the money, right? So you have to pay the money, then send the second round. I don't know if that's and I think that's a smart move on their part. I think that's how good he is.
No, and I'm happy to hear that. It sounds like Azeez will stay with us. And then E-Man, I absolutely love Mosley. But a couple guys that I'm looking at, with Kinlaw, I don't know. We hope for the best for Kinlaw. And Kinlaw is a beast. When I was checking him out coming out of South Carolina and even, his rookie year, he's big and he's strong. He can push the pocket. Maybe he's not a technician with the hands quite yet, but he's big and powerful. And hopefully, he'll be the guy that John Lynch in the front office expected him to be. But I'm actually looking at another interior guy, and it's Kevin Givens. I'm a big Kevin Givens fan. I think he can rush the passer. Yeah, he's a bit on the smaller side, but I think he's so quick. I mean, sometimes I'll see guards try to get their hands on him, and they'll whiff. They'll barely get hands on him, and he's immediately pressuring the quarterback. Kevin Givens is a guy whose stock I would buy now because I think it's going to skyrocket after this next year.
I love it. I love it. And that's a great one because everybody could make the simple ones, right? Like Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Mitchell, maybe
Aziz
even
Al-Shaair.
right. Yeah, or maybe no, I don't know if that's that as easy. I like that idea. You know that we're Aziz Hive over here, but or maybe you could get bold and say Trey Sermon, right? Like you want to get really bold.
Yeah.
You want to get out there and say it's going to be Trey Sermon because he'll figure it out. Anthony Lynn's probably going to offer a little bit more inside zone, what might be advantageous. We don't know what it looks like with Trey Lance also, but these are all good answers. And I think the bottom line here is for 49ers fans is while you're like looking to bolster the roster, I think when you take a look at what this roster is right now, there are so many impact guys, so many like this core right now is what other teams are looking to duplicate. Best tight end in the league, best fullback in the league, best linebacker in the league, best offensive weapon in the league, best left tackle in the league. People would die to have these sort of options. And how many have this many options? So again, everybody loves the flashy names. I'm on the side of you should have cleared that money from the handsome elephant in the room, and then you can go ahead and do whatever it is that you want to do, right? Like,
I mean, you're right.
Really,
It's not too late. It's not too late.
It's
Jay,
not too
go
late.
get a Gilmore. Go get a Clowney. There's guys out there. We could use that money.
I know, $26 million. I think there's a lot of people that think the cap is $26 million means one player. No, that means 2 and 3 players if you navigate the contracts correctly, and not just 2 or 3 like tier 3, tier 4 free agents. We're talking about high impact guys that immediately step right in, right? So again, there is that discussion. I'm sure we'll get to it if other people call in, but Eric's the only one here right now, and we're having a good conversation, so we can just keep it moving. But like it's more about when you look at the core of this roster, when you think about the coaching staff and you think about how they're in good hands, it's hard not to be excited. And then on top of that, you post the fact that the Packers have weakened themselves. Seattle.
Everybody in the NFC.
Seattle's pretty much done. The Rams got Allen Robinson. I hate that. That's disgusting. There's still a world where they get Odell Beckham now, especially after they traded Robert Woods, right? So they can get better. But the NFC is largely wide open. Are you nervous about the Dallas Cowboys? Are you nervous from anybody of the NFC North or anything like that? The NFC South with Atlanta, Carolina, the Saints, none of them at this point. So the 49ers, while we still ask them to do more, you can do more. They're still in a good spot. The only problem is I don't want them to rest in their laurels knowing that you still need to be able to improve this roster and you should be able to push for that going forward. That's really what it is.
Well, even too, like one name that's kind of in the same vein as Javon Kinlaw, because we know how good Javon Kinlaw is. We saw it a little bit in the rookie year, and he's only going to get better. How about Dee Ford? Like if he can stay healthy, and I know this is year 4 in a row of saying it, at this point, it's more of a positive thought than a real analysis thing. But if the Niners can get that production out of Dee Ford, not even production, just him being on the field, the idea of Dee Ford would be amazing for this defense, and it really takes away the need for a second edge. And as I said, is it something the Niners can bank on? Absolutely not. But if they can get it, it's only another weapon for Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and guys like that. So Dee Ford could be a very interesting one if he stays healthy.
Eric, I just noticed on your YouTube page, and we can transition into this. You posted a video talking about Ray McCloud being a secret weapon. Talk to us a little bit about that, Eric.
I'm so excited about the Ray McCloud signing. I've been looking everywhere on the internet, finding anything to watch that I could on this guy. And luckily someone had posted like every touch and every target of like week 1 through 10 of him on the Steelers. So I was checking that out. I was watching his high school footage when he was a running back, and that's where my eyes kind of lit up, right? We know Shanahan has an infatuation with these wide receivers who also do running back type of things, and McCloud's another one of these guys. He is the best returner we've had since Ted Ginn, in my opinion. But I'm also looking at offensively, how can we utilize this guy? And he's dynamic on the end arounds. I think you can put him in the backfield as like a third down back and have him run these pass route options. Give him a Texas route. I think he's better than Jermichael Hasty.
I hope Rich is not watching. He's gonna punch us in the face through the screen, man.
Why is that?
Because he's just convinced that there are no Texas routes in this offense. What they're called is choice routes, and we always make that joke, Eric. The same thing. We do that to him all the time. Like he'll host one of his little film sessions, and I'm like, "Can you post all of the Texas routes the 49ers run?" And he'll be like, "Shut up, man. Get out, man." Like it just like he gets so bad. But yeah, continue, Eric. I didn't mean to cut you off. That's just so good.
Yeah. No. I love McCloud. I think he's dynamic, and I don't think he's been really fully utilized to his maximum capabilities. Like let's think about the wide receivers out in Pittsburgh, right? Like he was 4th or 5th on that depth chart. Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson,
Love
James
Deontay.
Washington, Juju Smith-Schuster. Well, he was dinged up last year, but still. So he was further down the depth chart. He didn't really get his chance to shine. And I think Shanahan's going to use his running back abilities, his ability on the choice routes. I think he's a really good route runner, and Shanahan's got something designed, and I think he's going to be the secret weapon coming up this year.
I like it, Eric, because there's a proponent of positionless football with the 49ers, and that's something that Shanahan has been that's the reason that he took Jalen Hurd over Terry McLaurin. Yeah, I'm not bitter at all. Don't worry about it, guys. I definitely have gotten over it. But like there is a world where all of his guys need to be like that. Like we saw Brandon Ayuk run those sort of like touch passes that they gave to Samuel when Debo was out in 2020. Jalen Hurd was supposed to be that hybrid slot tight end running back. So that's not too far off. It really isn't. And then in terms of what's going on in Pittsburgh, is just Deontay is the man. He gets all the targets. Ben's arm is just nuked. It was terrible, but I do see the fit in that way as well too. So I love the optimism around him and everything. And I think that the money that they gave him, if you believe that that's just to be a returner, I think you're sadly mistaken. I think that that's what is leading Eric to this, is that it's going to be an increased role due to that money, because it's not peanuts to just pay a returner.
And even too, I like the idea of him, like not even just using him as I guess we'll use the word offensive weapon. We'll continue using it. I'm most excited to see what he can do in the slot, because he did a lot of slot work for the Steelers. I forgot the team name, Pittsburgh, whatever. He did a lot there, and I think the Niners have been missing that since. And I know we made fun of him a lot with Trent Taylor. I feel like the Niners have needed a true slot guy. I know we like Jawan Jennings and Kendrick Bourne. The Niners, man, they have so many physical receivers at this point where I think you just need a little guy somewhere in the middle who can create his own space, get loose. And I think Ray McCloud's a good guy for that. Nothing against Jawan Jennings. I like Jawan Jennings too. I just think he's a little better built for the outside. And I like his run blocking ability, that you might even be able to sneak him to the inside a little bit to block from the inside. So it's Ray McCloud. It just feels like it's something that the Niners have been missing a little bit in this offense for the past couple of years since, as I said, Trent Taylor left.
Yeah. So 22 minutes in, shout out to everybody that's in here. If you are part of the Spicy Squad, go check that community real quick, man. Please, I posted the link. Anybody else jump in? Eric, you good vibing with us until somebody else pops in?
Hey, hell yeah, man. I ain't going nowhere. I'm talking to Jay and Andrew. Woo, let's get it. Hey, you guys need to join the Spicy Squad, man. I can't be the only one in there. Oh, there we go.
Let's go. We got some people joining. I mean, look, if you go and you look in the community page where you can actually post on YouTube, I posted the link. It's only for people who have joined. So please jump in. Let's have a discussion like this. We don't even have to kick Eric out. If you want to jump in, then we've got 4 guys. Look, Eric's very knowledgeable. Andrew is the host of the Sprint Right Option podcast. I can't believe that I was able to secure this sort of look. It wasn't easy. I had to clear up the red tape with a bunch of people. I had to send an email to the man who sent it to the man.
Sunday nights are double fee too. So
that is. And Ramon, draft Calvin Austin to separate. Ramon, do not tempt me with a good time, my friend. Do not tempt me with a good time. So look, let's talk about. Let's see. I don't want to talk about the quarterback because I am so sick of it at this point. Tomorrow, all right, here's what we do. There we go. Luis, shout out to you, man. And Giannis, if you look, I believe if you go into your YouTube app and you look at the post itself, like I'm still trying to like navigate through that as well too. Like if you look at the post, you'll be able to see the link right there, the same way that Eric was able to grab it, right, Eric?
Yeah. I got the notification that you had put out the link for the members, and so it popped up real easy for me.
Perfect. And I saw Grant, he did a show yesterday, a members only show, and I was like, man, I thought of that first. He just did it before me, so there's no way to claim any of that. But John Lynch is going to be down in Palm Beach, and so is Kyle Shanahan, because tomorrow is the owners meeting. Unfortunately, I can't swing it down there because we're going to Vegas next month for the for the draft. I couldn't swing a flight to Palm Beach to just go down there and see, but he is going to speak rather early. It's supposedly 7:45 Eastern time, which makes that 4:45 your time that he'll be speaking tomorrow to it's Kyle Shanahan. I'm sorry. Kyle Shanahan is going to speak tomorrow before 8 o'clock Eastern, and he's going to be talking. For a lot of people who have been asking about, well, why hasn't there been media availability? We're going to find out a lot right now. And Kyle Shanahan is going to have to be the one who gets the microscope put on him because nobody's spoken to the media since the combine. John Lynch was there. We all asked questions about Jimmy Garoppolo. I thought we all thought it was a foregone conclusion. If you would have asked anybody who was in the combine in Indy, they would have said the Colts are locked in on Jimmy Garoppolo. That's all we heard during the time, right? And look, we just got somebody else to pop in. Cool. So let's get him in here real quick. Giannis, thank you for joining the Spicy Squad. Appreciate you, bro. What's going on with you, man?
Is there something wrong with my lighting, or is it you guys?
I think you're good. A little dark.
Yeah, I mean, we can see you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Anything you want to talk about? Unless you want to talk about this, anything that you want to talk about, what's on your mind? You got Eric, you got Andrew, you got myself here. Let's chop it up. I think I can't really hear you. I don't know. Is anybody else hearing them?
I don't got that.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying just keep on discussing the topic you are discussing.
Okay, so tomorrow, Kyle Shanahan will speak around 8 o'clock Eastern, a little bit earlier than that. What do you think are going to be the answers towards this? Why is Jimmy still here? Nobody is that's going to be there. See, here's the thing. San Francisco beat writers. Love them. Got the chance to meet them, and they're the nicest people ever. But they don't go hard, right? That's why people don't like Grant. Like, Grant asks questions that will push the needle or a little bit, like, over the top. But the other guys give softball questions most of the time. That's why I hit John Lynch in the combine right away with that Mike McGlinchey. Like, tell me what's going on with Mike McGlinchey. And then he gave me one of those PR answers about attacking his rehab. Didn't really do much or move the needle about what I was talking about. But what do you think Kyle Shanahan is going to say tomorrow when he's asked about Jimmy Garoppolo?
My guess is I'll let you go.
Yeah, let him go.
No, go ahead. I just didn't know who was it.
But my guess is probably the same answer you got from John Lynch, right? Just a bunch of the mumbo jumbo that they usually give us. It's going to be nothing wild. It's not going to it's not like he's going to say, yeah, we had a first round pick offer out there. We didn't take it. No, it's going to be the typical due diligence, coach speak, all that fun stuff. So I'll let Giannis go just because, you know, he's here. He's the one on the Spicy Squad, so I want to hear what they think.
Let's go, Giannis.
No, I honestly have no idea what's going on with Jimmy Garoppolo. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, it's just a little muffled, but yeah, we can hear you. If you maybe if you just hold your mic up, yeah, just a little bit further to your mouth, you're good.
Better now?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. No, I was gonna say I just don't know what's going on with this situation because we were promised that Jimmy would be gone by now. So I have no idea what he's doing here. And the only thing that I can think of is that comment that the owner said after they drafted him, when he said that, oh, if Trey isn't ready, yes. But that thing, I keep going back to that. How do you know he's not ready? Maybe that's not bad. From the map there. I've heard bad from other states. Oh, he looks great in practice. But it's like, they just saw him like, I don't know, they don't see him every day. So I'm just confused. Like, I feel like if he was ready, he would play. It's not like they love Jimmy. They've shown us that they don't really love him. So it's like, I'm talking about the coaches.
Yeah. Eric, what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah,
about that?
you know, I hope the right reporters are there asking the right questions, right? Because I don't know who's going to be there. Like you said, Grant's the one that usually holds these guys' feet to the fire. So I don't know if he's in there. So hopefully they're asking the tough, hard-hitting questions that we want to know. Why the hell is Jimmy still on this team?
I mean, you know what? I would jump up and say that, but then I would get banned from any sort of media ever again because I have a very distinct face and aura, and like, you know, like you can
and I saw
the slender
you
man
on the sideline of that Senior Bowl. Watching the Senior Bowl, and then Aponte's in the corner on the sideline. They're scoring a touchdown. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, you can spot Aponte from like at least 100 yards away,
dude.
It's the tallest one there.
Yeah, I got the Slender Man vibes on lock, man. Like you can't miss me. Like who's the only person that's as tall as me right now in the 49ers media? Lombardi. Lombardi's tall as hell, man. I had no idea. We were eye to eye, man. Like it was crazy. But I have this question right here from BV50. He's part of the Spicy Squad. Shout out to him as well, too. I'm a little concerned about the offensive line depth. Your thoughts? Giannis, how do you feel about the offensive line right now at this point? Like, we don't know what's going on with Mike McGlinchey. Apparently, he's attacking his rehab, whatever that means. Right guard, Daniel Brunskill has been tendered. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's back. Alex Mack sounds like he's coming back. Lincoln Tomlinson leaves for the Jets. We obviously know we have the best left tackle in football, in the world, right? But what are your thoughts about the offensive line depth? And then after you, we could pass it to Eric, and we'll go all the way around, and then right back to me.
You know what worries?
Yeah. My bad.
No, we'll go with Giannis first.
Yeah, my bad.
What worries me about the offensive line is that if you see the money that Laker Tomlinson went for, I didn't think it was crazy money. Like, I don't think 10 million for like a person who they really value, because they were. I heard that they gave him like the best offensive lineman every year or something like that. So is 10 million for him really that crazy? I feel like they could have paid that, but I feel like this year I almost feel like they're gonna just pay the youngins, like the youngsters. Like I just feel like that's what's gonna happen this year. It's almost like they're gonna happen this year. And if things go awry, I feel like then they're gonna like retool next year, because they're gonna have. I feel like they're gonna have these past 3
Okay.
That's how I feel about the offense.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Banks is going to be locked in at left guard, right? When you draft an interior lineman in the second round, it feels like he probably should be starting like from day one if you hit on the pick, but that's neither here nor there. Aaron Banks will get his shot at left guard. At the center, Alex Mack, I mean, we've heard like a month ago that he's leaning towards coming back. But here's the thing. If Mack was retiring, they wouldn't tell us, right? Just like Lynch pulled
Joe
it
Staley.
off with Staley. Yeah, they wouldn't tell us, because then every team knows that center's in need going into the draft. Some team's going to trade up right before we pick and snag the center. So center, I don't think we really know what's going on. Right guard, I mean, is it going to be Daniel Brunskill again? I mean, Brunskill is like, he's for like a minimum, but you know what I mean? In pass pro, I'm tired of seeing Brunskill get worked in pass pro, because he doesn't hold up versus a bull rush very well. He's kind of light. He's kind of light in the backside, where you get someone, like a Chris Jones or just a big physical. Hell, I've seen it with, lower talented players who are giving Brunskill problems just because they're really powerful. So right guard, I don't know. I don't think we quite have an answer at right guard. And then right tackle, what's going on? You asked the question at the combine, McGlinchey. They didn't address it by signing a tackle this offseason.
Lyle Collins for $1 million base salary. Lyle Collins,
and he
I don't
can
care.
play guard too. He could have played guard for a little bit if you needed. He could play tackle. So it's like, Lyle Collins would have been perfect.
But everybody has that picture of Nick Bosa lifting him off the ground. You guys realize that Nick Bosa is really good at football? That doesn't mean anything about Lyle Collins. And I understand he has the hip thing, but $1 million? You spent $2 million on your backup quarterback, Nate Sudfeld. How is $1 million base salary with a bunch of incentives for a guy who can pay off in this way? How is that a problem? And guess what? Let's say you sign him and everything works out with Mike McGlinchey, and Mike McGlinchey is ready to go. Now you have really two good options, and like Eric alluded to, he can play guard. And if not, then you know what? You might be able to explore a trade for Mike McGlinchey. I mean, I know that he's not the most popular guy around here. I wouldn't necessarily advocate for that, but there are people that still believe in his run blocking, which is really high. And to tell you a little bit more, Tom Compton, he signed a deal with the Denver Broncos. That's how good he did this year, and that's how well he did. So, Andrew, I'm interested to get your thoughts real quick. We'll get you guys off of here real quick, and then we'll see who else pops on and everything. I appreciate both of you guys for tapping in, though. But go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys very much. It means the world. My thing is, I'm not the offensive line worries me a little bit. I like the idea of bringing in Laken Tomlinson. I think the Jets maybe overpaid for him, but that's what happens when players at the open market is teams tend to overpay. I would have been very okay with just bringing Laken Tomlinson back, just so you have one less question mark. This is an offensive line that still technically has 4 question marks on it. I don't think Max retiring at this point. I think he would have said something earlier. I don't think this is a Joe Staley situation where the Niners are trying to work a trade for the best center in the league like they did with Trent Williams. I think we would have found out, but we'll play that as a question mark. We don't know who the right guard is. We don't know how healthy Mike McGlinchey is going to be, and we don't know how good Aaron Banks is going to be. So if you would have been able to bring back Laken Tomlinson, that's one less question you had to worry about on the offensive line. You have 4 very large question marks with a young quarterback back there. And I'm in the camp where Trey Lance is going to make the offensive line a little bit better because he's not going to be a statue back there like Jimmy Garoppolo was. He has the ability to move, but there's a line, where you don't want him running for his life. And I'm a little worried that the line right now is poor enough to where it might be more of him running for his life than extending plays. But we'll see because I do believe that if McGlinchey can't come back healthy, which I know – is a big if because what is it? He tore the calf off his bone.
Tore off the bone.
Which just doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good at all. That's not something I'd want to do.
They're saying at best 50-50. That's not at best. I'm 50-50 every single day that I wake up. Like, what on earth, man?
My back is a little sore, and I've just been sitting in this chair all day. I can't imagine what it'd be like to come back from a calf pulled off the bone. But if he comes back, it makes things a little easier. So we'll see. I'm very intrigued to see how it comes out. But yeah, the offensive line is by far the biggest concern right now.
Yep, Jamal. If go get that link, man. Hop in, man. I'd love to, talk with you, man. Eric, Giannis, I appreciate both of you guys, man. You guys are in the Spicy Squad. Giannis, this is your brand new. Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate you jumping on here, talking ball with us, man. Where you from, Giannis?
I'm actually from Norway.
Say again?
Norway.
Wow. What time is it in Norway?
Let me check. 3:06. But I don't have work.
3:06 in the morning?
Yeah, but I don't have work, so that's.
Oh, okay. So you just vibing with us. Hey, Giannis, we
we
appreciate you, man, so much, man. It's really late. Like, I mean, as a father of a young girl, 3:06 is when I'm in like my 5th dream, man. Like trying to, and I know that in 3 hours, Avery's gonna get up, man. So I appreciate you tapping in, Eric. Definitely appreciate you tapping in, bro. You've been a big supporter. I'm a big fan of yours, man, too, man. For everybody who doesn't know, make sure you subscribe to Eric's YouTube channel. He's close to 1,000 subs right now, man. Let's get him there, man. He deserves it. The guy puts in work, and the guy has been on top of things before they happen. Trust me, nobody was talking about Arden Key before this, man. I promise you, man. I promise you that he was the leader of this. So shout out to both of you guys for jumping on, man. Appreciate you guys, man. And we've got some other callers, so we'll take another caller. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Hey,
appreciate you guys.
Too, by the way, great content.
Appreciate you, Eric.
Means the
Appreciate
world.
you, bro. All right, we got one of the newest members of the Spicy Squad, Bryant. What's up, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Been watching for a while.
Absolutely,
enjoy
man.
it.
That means the world to us, man. Like I really can't overemphasize that. It's simple, kind words like that is what we do it for. So it's good to have you on here. What do you want to talk about, Brian?
Well, again, I wanted to say thanks for your content because I'm a maintenance guy, so I put my phone down and listen to you guys when I'm painting, and sometimes can't jump in that chat. But I listen to you guys, and sometimes I really do. I have to put the paint roller down so I can say something about special teams or something like that.
Man of the culture, special teams. We love special teams on the Sprint Right Option podcast. It's our staple.
So I wanted to say, one, I live in Stockton where the UOP used to have the 49ers training camp. So I got to go up there a lot. And I seen Steve Young, Terrell Owens, Jerry Rice. I got a lot of those guys' autographs. I met Terrell Owens. My dad volunteered one time to, for the fan club one day. And he actually got to give me a 49er football practice ball. And I still have that from, the 1998. So I'm really proud of that. This one.
Wow.
Like, proudest possession. He's a Raider fan, so it means a whole lot to me that he actually went and volunteered to be there and stood in the sun and stuff like that. And another really funny thing is we were going down the street one day and we seen Jeff Garcia, and we pulled up next to him, and my dad rolled down the window and Jeff Garcia rolled his window down, and my dad said, "Hey, you're Jeff Garcia?" And he said, No, I'm a coach. Why are you a Niner fan?" And my dad said, "No, I'm a Raider fan." My boy over here, he's a Niner fan. So Jeff just started like shaking his head, but no, it was Jeff Garcia.
That's dope.
So you can't mess his bald head. But
that's dope.
No, once again, it's definitely a cool show tonight, and thanks for having me on. And one thing that I did want to say is it's crazy that we still have Jimmy here on our team, and I know that's.
I figured that's where we're gonna get to, Brian. Lead it into the conversation. We'll talk about it. Well, wait. Give it 1 second.
Feels great, baby.
Now look who's here. Is Javier Vega of the Fourth and Goal podcast. Smashed 2 interviews today with draft prospects, Khalil Shakir and what's the other kid's name? I'm sorry, Javi.
Sean Ryan of UCLA.
Sean Ryan of UCLA, man. If you guys haven't, make sure you subscribe to his channel as well so you can check out those interviews. Brian, I'm gonna give you the floor again. You were getting into something. I wanted to bring Javi in on this so we could all talk about it, but go for it.
No, more the merrier. I like talking 49ers too. Oh, just about anybody. I talk so much football. People, they know that's the one thing I am about.
Trust me. My wife is like, just tell it to the computer. Keep it away from me, man. I promise you, man. It's the same thing, bro. I promise.
I'm a Niner fan and Batman fan. That's the 2 things people know about me. So that's it.
Let's go. Real quick, Brian. Real quick. Have you seen the new Batman movie?
No, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for this Friday.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you wait a little bit longer, it'll be on HBO Max so you can see it in the house. I would put you in the spot to go see it in theater because the music is crazy, the sound is amazing. But I will tell you this realization that I had, and we'll get right back to football. We'll get right back to you. I'm a big Spider-Man and Batman fan. I watched Spider-Man No Way Home for the second time on Friday. Batman's a better movie. Now that's my hot take. Go for it, Brian.
Yeah,
you heard what I said, Javi.
Yeah.
You heard what I said.
I promised my little girl we're going Friday, so we're going to go because it's one of those things. You can only see so many movies live, and I remember seeing Batman Forever, even as bad as people say that movie was. But I seen it live.
How old's your daughter, Brian?
My daughter is 10, so
nice.
she's going to be able to watch it and enjoy it and remember. But no, I called in to talk about.
I said what I said, Ariel. I'm sorry, Brian. I said what I said, Ariel, and I will back it up. I will do the whole podcast on why I believe that. I promise you. I'm sorry, Brian. Go for it.
No. Again, this is you guys' channel, and I'm glad to be here. No, the one reason Jimmy's still on our team is because Jed York and his wife like Jimmy. That's it. They like his face. They like what he brings to the team. They the culture that the 5-game winning streak that happened. They kept him after his injury in Kansas City, and that's the only reason he's still here is because Jed York and his wife still want him. That's the only reason.
Okay, Javi, you're here. Everybody, we got a celebrity in the building. They want to hear from you. Go for it. Yeah, you heard what I said, Javi.
I would push back on the Jed and the fam. I would push back on the Yorks like him, just because who wants to throw away $25 million for a quarterback who's not your future, right? Like, as much as Jed said what he said, like, yeah, we're comfortable. Yeah, cool, you're comfortable with paying that, but if these things are true about Lance and the word, behind the scenes is that Lance has been told he's a starter, then there's no reason to keep him here. The reason Jimmy's here is because there's no market for an injured quarterback, right? Baker Mayfield has he's recovering from a non-throwing shoulder surgery injury, right? And he hasn't been traded, or he's probably going to get cut, and the market for him is slim. The market for Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be slim because he ended up having a surgery super late. And not saying that he sabotaged his drafts, his trade stock. It's just the Niners were going to move on from him, and they made that very, very clear. Jimmy's only here because there is no market because of the injury. Had he not had this surgery, Jimmy Garoppolo is probably in Indianapolis Colt. Jimmy Garoppolo might be, in Philadelphia. He might be in Washington. It's the injury is what slowed everything down, right? Like you can't go ahead and say a month after the season, by the way, I'm having the surgery, and then expect him to be gone. And once this surgery thing came up, I was like, okay, he's gonna be here until training camp, and that's probably what they're gonna do. Now they can cut him if they want to cut him right now. He's gonna fail a physical, so they owe him $7.5 million. If they cut him at let's say July, when he's able to throw, he can pass the physical. The Niners gain all that cap space, and yes, the Niners don't necessarily need the cap space right now, but they're going to need it for the 2024 season when Debo's money would take effect, when Bosa's money would take effect. When maybe a Dre Greenlaw extension would take effect, like those things is when it matters. I would push back on the notion that Jed and Denise and them, they probably like Jimmy Garoppolo. I think everyone likes Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. Nobody doesn't like. That's the part that gets lost. Is nobody dislikes Jimmy Garoppolo. There's so many things to like, but keep going on.
Yeah. I mean, but no one's willingly paying a guy $25 million if they don't have to, right? Because we know the market on him. I think it's safe to say Jimmy Garoppolo may never sniff $25 million a season again, and I think his market is probably going to be in that $10 to $12 million price point per year, probably for the next 2 years. And then after
with
that,
incentives.
depending on what he shows in the next 2 years, then maybe he can get back to that higher end money. But I think he's on the trajectory of a Andy Dalton, of a Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, that is kind of his mold going forward. He is going to be a bridge. And, the other part about this is, I think Matt Barrow said it best, but I think we all mentioned it. The Niners spent the better part of 2 years talking about getting rid of this guy, and publicly, right? They publicly shopped for Brady. They talked about Stafford. They talked about Wentz. It was Teddy Bridgewater. It was every like Jason
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, every 2-armed, able-bodied quarterback that was available, the Niners showed interest. So the rest of the league is like, listen, if Kyle Shanahan doesn't want him, the offensive genius, like let's have that in there in the conversation. The offensive genius that is Kyle Shanahan is saying, listen, he is not good enough for me going forward. Why is he going to be good enough for a offensive coordinator or a head coach who's looking for a quarterback to try to match the productivity? The answer is they don't exist. If Kyle's maximized this guy, who else is going to maximize him any further?
So let me jump in real quick, because if there's no value for him because of his injury and because of his surgery and because he waited to take his surgery, and there's no value in it, then there really is no reason not to cut him at this point and just eat the 7.5 and wait for him to get, because he will go to another team later after July or August when he can sign and he pass a physical. We will get the 7.5 back. We just have to pay him cash, and the Niners have enough cash to pay him.
Well,
right now,
and the other interesting thing, Brian, I didn't mean to cut you off real quick. It's the other interesting thing is, if the 7.5 is on the hook and he signs a deal for more than that, then the 49ers are off the hook on that money.
They get it back.
That's another thing.
The other part about, real quick on that, the Niners, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, I would say this: they will do what they can to do right by their players.
They are.
Cutting him now sends a bad sign to the rest of the locker room, sends a bad sign to the rest of the league. Look, they're going to cut this guy while he's injured, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No, let's let this guy get in. Let's get this guy get healthy in our facilities, because he got injured under our watch, right? Because he did get injured in the Cowboy game. That matters. Think about what they did for Brock Coyle. Remember, they didn't have to pay Brock Coyle to leave. They paid him to leave, basically. After he had a neck issue, they paid him his salary anyways, right? They did the same thing with Nate Sudfeld. They didn't have to pay him to be on the roster. They did that. They've done it several times with their players. They want to do right by their players. And this is another example of that. Like, they're not going to be like, hey, Jimmy, hey, man, thanks for everything. Bye. And we're going to eat this $7.5 million. No, hey, Jimmy, stay here. We'll get you rehabbed, and we'll make sure you're good to go for your next spot. Now, does that mean Jimmy's going to take snaps at training camp? Absolutely not. I don't think Don Yee lets this guy take another snap in a San Francisco 49ers uniform. And Jimmy won't be cleared for OTAs anyway. So for those who are worried about Trey Lance's snaps and things like that, Jimmy can't even throw a ball till July. So OTAs and stuff like that belong all the way to Trey. And like I said before, the feeling around 49ers, the feeling around the 49ers in the Bay Area is that Trey Lance has been told he's the starter.
Yeah. Andrew, you wanna chime in real quick? Brian's the only caller, so we can vibe with him for a bit. The comments of it, and everybody who's in here. If you just joined the Spicy Squad, go to the community page right there where I posted the link. Join in everything. Go for it, Javi.
Brian, is that a white residency hat?
Yes, my wife bought me for Christmas. I was so stoked.
I'm gonna go talk to Zach. He didn't send me a white one.
Nice. See, now who's a celebrity? Brian's out here stunting on all of us. Andrew, you're go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
I seen Brad wearing it, and after that, I was like, man. And then I started looking into, like what is it? Is it just a fancy logo or what? And then I started thinking, man. And I talked to my wife, and next thing I know, I have one under the Christmas tree.
Hey, Brian, look. Brad big times all of us. I called that man's phone today to see if he wanted to join, and he don't answer the phone. Yeah, he big times all of us. He's in group chats with a bunch of us. He never answers. That man is way too busy for us, man. So if he has the white hat and you got the white hat, the both of you are official, because he's a celebrity and he's a guy that big times the hell out of us. Andrew, real quick, to Brian's point, what do you have to add to what's going on with Jimmy Garoppolo at this point?
Yeah, and even too, like let's say that the whole cut situation. Let's say, because they're gonna have to hold on to him because of the injury. But let's say, and I guess Miami's not a good choice because they just signed who they signed. Bridgewater. Bridgewater's the backup down there.
Said he's their backup.
So I guess he doesn't. Miami doesn't work, but there could be a team that feels like they're a decent quarterback away, who has a quarterback who goes down during camp. Things like that happen, and I don't want that to happen. I prefer teams to stay 100% healthy. But let's say there's a team that has a decent quarterback. He goes down and gets hurt. Let's say, I don't know, maybe the Browns, maybe one of those teams, $1 million cap hit. He gets hurt, knock on wood. Hopefully he doesn't. They need a quarterback for this year. Now, all of a sudden, there's a higher price on Jimmy Garoppolo because, there's a need that exists there. It's not the best way to run it because obviously you want to try and trade him as early as possible. That didn't happen for a plethora of reasons. I think the injuries obviously a huge one.
Wait. For a what of reasons?
A plethora.
Is that your word of the day on the calendar? Like, did you
have I used it a couple times? Yeah. I haven't even noticed. I just
used
it.
No, it's good. It's a great word. I'm not shaming you for that.
Hey, I like to flex that I know words every so often. Because even too, I don't think it helped that this was a very decently good quarterback market. I've been saying I would rather try Trubisky. I would rather try Mariota. I would rather try Winston because you don't really know what you got for them for cheaper prices. They can be really good. You know what you're getting with Jimmy Garoppolo for $25 million. So the quarterback market was already pretty heavy at that point.
What on earth is that?
Did our boy post on Instagram? What's the caption say?
What is it? The polo that he's been selling to everybody? That polo looks like it's really like
good. Go hand in hand while rocking the new Travis Matthews Xena polo. I'm gonna go cop. Just by the way,
I mean the polo's dope. I've seen it. The polo's dope, and he's Jimmy Polo, so it makes sense, man, for his brand, all of that stuff. Like, I'm getting up there in age, right? I'm going to be 40 in 2 years. I got to start dressing like a dad. I can't keep messing around in these streets looking like this, man. Like, exactly. Yo, look, Brian knows the vibes. Brian knows the vibes. He got the polo and everything. I'm going to tuck the polo into the khaki shorts and everything. I'm going to go full dad.
Listen, I feel like this Travis Matthew brand, calling it the Xena polo, why didn't they just call it the Garoppolo polo?
Oh, my God. It's a missed opportunity.
It's just in there.
It's a missed opportunity, and it's right there for you. Keep going, Andrew, real quick.
I think we have the hottest quarterback in the NFL. Is that like, look at this man. Look at this smile. Like, he just looks so happy. Like, not a
That's
worry.
Why I can't just send him off.
Yeah, that's part of the reason, man. It's very hard.
Take my shoulder, Jimmy. Take my shoulder.
Yeah,
take my shoulder, Jimmy. I don't need it.
It's what it's about, selling tickets, and like, I hate to say it too, and I've heard other people say it too, but my wife got real interested after we changed into Jimmy as our starter, and she's like, who's this as our quarterback? And the next thing I know, she wants a jersey. My daughter got a jersey, and I'm like, crap, like now, the guy got hurt, and right after we all got jerseys, he got hurt.
Priya's over it. She's over the discussion. So Priya sent me a message saying, can you please talk about Jimmy Garoppolo for 30 minutes? We're getting close. We're getting there. We're almost getting there. And she sent it jokingly.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
people are questioning my use of plethora now. Now I'm nervous I'm using it.
No, you're using it in the correct way. We're all impressed.
A large or excessive amount of something. People are saying, do you know what a plethora is? I used it right.
Yes.
I don't need to know the bar for bar definition. I just know how to use it.
But hey, one more thing I wanted to say.
Right.
And okay, if they would have cut him when he decided to go into surgery, then he could have decided to go wherever he wanted and sign anywhere before the quarterback market got flooded and everybody got sorted out. That could have happened. They didn't do that. Why didn't they do that? There was a reason behind it. And even if the Niners keep him as a third string quarterback this year and put him on IR, they'll get a third round comp for him next year. I don't think the Yorks have a problem paying him his contract. I don't like it. I hate it. But I think that's what's going to end up happening. I really think that's what's going to happen. And we don't have to worry about signing Debo or Bosa until next year. And honestly, I have a feeling that Debo's going to get the franchise tag.
Will he play on that? And that's a whole other discussion. Hey, Brian, I want to say thank you for tapping in. Thank you for joining the club, man. I appreciate you, man, for spitting your knowledge and everything. That's a fire residency hat that you have on here, man. And we're gonna do this now in the off season, and especially during the season, we're going to do this more and more. So for anybody who is interested, this isn't going to be something that we just do once in a blue. I'll try to bring in as many heavyweights as I can. Like I said, I had to go through a bunch of red tape to get Andrew on here somehow. Javi, I had to talk to his secretary who sent me to his assistant who sent me to him. And then eventually he said he could clear the time. So like, I'm working hard for you guys. I'm trying to get you guys the best guys here.
Hey, once again, thanks for having me on, and I look forward to calling in again sometime. You guys have a good night.
Appreciate you, Bryant, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything, man. And
thank you.
Yeah, man. When you go see Batman, send me a message on Twitter so we could talk.
I definitely will. Thank you. You guys have a good night. Go faithful.
All right, bro. You too, man. All right. Giannis has a question, and it's for Javi. Not for me or you, Andrew, so we're not going to say anything here, okay? Just for Javi. Thoughts on Lance not being able to outrun any NFL defenders last year? Even quarterback power looked bad. What type of offense does he think Kyle runs if Lance is under center? Javi.
I think Kyle runs his normal offense with Lance in the center. I was not surprised that Lance could not outrun an NFL defender. I referenced his arm to arm arrogance, right? He's willing to make any throw because he knows he can, right? He knows he can hit every corner of the field. Now, is he going to do it accurately? Who knows? When it comes to the run game, he's not a running quarterback. I think that was something that was lost in the conversation coming up with him pre-draft. He's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who is looking to throw first while scrambling, right? He will do that. The design power stuff, that comes with time. And then the other part of it was Kyle sequencing his plays a certain way with Lance in there in those 10 quarters. Like he was looking to try to get Lance into some type of rhythm. We saw in the Arizona game, there was a lot of, 11 design runs. And that was kind of because we knew Lance was dealing with a broken finger, right? So the accuracy is all over the place. And, Kyle probably didn't trust him to run the full breadth of the offense as a passer. I think with a complete offseason, a healthy offseason, the ability to work with Brandon Ayuk regularly, right? Potentially Debo might come out there to California, but Debo has already said he's not going to California. He's going to stay in Miami. So he said they can come see me, whatever that means. He did say that on the Niners Nation pod when they did the pods on the Super Bowl week. So the offense is going to be the offense, right? The offense is whatever Kyle Shanahan wants it to be based on his personnel. So I don't foresee a shit ton of QB power in 2022. Like I see some desired read option, maybe some short yardage, QB power, but I would not expect him to see, I don't think he's going to do Josh Allen numbers running the ball, right? I think he's going to be more of the Justin Herbert type. He'll run if he has to.
Right.
But he's going to look to throw the ball before he decides to run.
Tara Dome says Jimmy G is the Anna Kournikova of quarterbacks. And for anybody who is old like I am, Anna Kournikova was the most beautiful tennis player that anybody has ever seen. She was a Russian young woman. And she didn't really win too many tournaments, but she won our hearts. And I think that's where we're at. For Jamal's question, are we going to have a weekly set time? Not necessarily, but there will be a weekly show like this and we'll figure it out. And Jamal, either way, man, we got to have you on the channel one way or another, whether that's on Sprint Right Option or whether it's just you and Jasper that join on a regular stream. Whatever it is, we got to get you on there, man, because for anybody who doesn't know, Jamal does a great job as well too, man, with all of his stuff. So Bryant, no problem, man. Again, thank you for calling in. I love that Batman and 49ers symbol. That's fire. Caesar says, go to
JK's real quick before we take the real question, because I love JK's. The very newest.
God. It's looking fucking good, man.
Why is he? JK is like literally the MVP of our comments. Like every time he drops something, and it's just like, just when you think he can't come up with something as good as the last one, he's doing that much better, man. Yeah. It's so good. JKBG is the MVP of our chat consistently. Caesar, thank you for the donation. Appreciate you, bro. Did you guys see Vish on Kruger's podcast? I didn't know Vish was on Kruger's podcast. Yeah. This man is blowing up, right? Like he don't even answer my text. Oh, we know, Javi. You're the celebrity here. We're just two guys, right? Like, did you guys see Vish on Kruger's podcast and their solution to this mess? In short, Jimmy G to Carolina for eating Darnold's contract, restructure it, keep him on the roster, add a second-round pick, and get their first round. Javi doesn't look convinced. Javi, you go first.
Sam Darnold's on a fifth-year option. He's getting $18 million regardless of what you restructure. So, no, that would not be a good idea to send Jimmy Garoppolo to Carolina for Sam Darnold. You know what's a good idea? Send Jimmy Garoppolo to Carolina for Brian Burns. Right? Like, that's a really good idea. Sam Darnold.
Hey, man, don't say his name. Don't say his name, because Brad Graham's going to, like, bust into our stream and just end up, like, I don't even have to, like, put him in here. It'll just show up. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, it would not be a good idea to trade for Sam Darnold. Like, respect Nate Sudfeld, guys. Like,
yeah. Like they gave Sudfeld the contract. He's obviously going to be the backup. I don't think a quarterback is going to be good. As a big Florida State fan, I'm all in on the. It feels like Brad just started this. He just willed this rumor into place. He just kept posting about it, and now it feels like Carolina's kind of talking aloud about quarterbacks. So yeah, if they can do the Brian Burns thing, I'm all in on it.
Yeah, I would not trade for Sam Darnold at all. Maybe last offseason as a backup, right before you decided to have a fifth-year option on the guy. Carolina did that literally as they traded for him, which is really stupid. So now they're stuck in their own they created their own QB purgatory. Like they had an out, and they chose to give him his 5th year option before he got there.
Hold
so
on.
that was
And
another dumb
I
thing.
think Javi made a great point about respect Nate Sudfeld.
The
Look,
Niners
this isn't hyperbole, and this isn't me being funny because obviously I feel the way that I do about Jimmy Garoppolo. Nate Sudfeld objectively made some of the best throws that we saw in camp for the 2 weeks that we were there. And that's not even me joking. In one-on-ones, in any sort of passing drill, Nate Sudfeld was impressive, man. And I know pads, practice, all that stuff doesn't really matter. But when you think about the scheme, how he fits, they gave him that money because they believe in him right off the bat. And that should have let you know that they were moving on from Jimmy. They just didn't suspect that all of this would happen. Look, there's a bunch of factors that happen with Jimmy Garoppolo in terms of why we are here. Nobody in the 49ers front office could have figured out that, 1, Tom Brady was going to come back. 2, Deshaun Watson was going to get cleared. This muddied everything. Thank you. This muddied everything. And now when you talk about how quickly things lined up, nobody would have thought that Atlanta would have taken that obscenely horrible dead catch hit on Matt Ryan to send him to Indianapolis. But they made it work. I think a lot of these things weren't there in front of them. So did they overplay their hand in that way because they didn't consider all the variables? And this offseason has been particularly crazy. But at the same time, they had a plan. They thought they were going to stick with it. They thought it was going to work. The best laid plans of mice and men. And that's, I'm dating myself. That sounds like my pop, man. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, I age myself a little bit further every time I put one of these out there.
Of mice of men is like a high. Everybody reads it in high. Should I read it in high school? So we're all around Jordan too long.
Would you rather see ghosts or not see linebackers? Joey is like,
man. I want to say something about the Sam Darnold seeing ghosts.
Go for it.
I appreciate that honesty from the mic'd up people. I don't know why ESPN got in trouble for it, because it's so much better to hear that honesty from quarterbacks and players who are mic'd up instead of the generic, like, hey, let's go. Just the normal boring stuff. I like hearing the real conversations that happen on the sideline.
My influence is this Jordan Elliott flexing on all of us right now in the chat? Like, this is what's going on. All right, we got an hour in. We could stick around for a little while, not too much longer. Shout out to everybody that was in here, man. Shout out to the people who called in, Giannis, Brian, Eric, the guys who joined, everybody who joined the Spicy Squad today. Obviously, this is something that we're going to do going forward. The reason that I limit it to the members is because I've seen too many call-in shows go left when you just send out the link in the comments, and then all of a sudden it's a free-for-all. Maybe you'll get more interactions, but you'll get more people that are going to do some hateful things. I've taken a long time to build up this channel, and I can't risk it on someone being funny or anything like that. So that's just where I'm at with it. And I also want to, give people a chance to speak that really appreciate the content, that really enjoy it. And, it is $2.99 to join the Spicy Squad, but, I appreciate you guys.
And we get to people in the comments still. So, we there's ways to talk still.
Did you guys do Debo thing yet?
We can talk about it again real quick. I've seen and heard Jordan before. What is Jordan's YouTube channel name? If you look up Jordan Elliott Sports on there, please trust me, you need to subscribe to this. This man yesterday did a 5-hour stream. And it's not that it was 5 hours. 5 hours. Legit 5 hours. The last two are spent with the beautiful, the always pleasant Rich Madrid. And this is why you need to always watch in on certain. Look at how he laughing. The always pleasant, level-headed, very easy to speak to Rich Madrid. And these are sort of the things that Jordan is allowing to happen on his channel. So yes, all of a sudden you need no break. No break.
Him and I went 2 hours and 15 minutes on Thursday.
No break. No break. 5 hours.
Jimmy G shut off his comments on his post.
Ooh, he knows.
Smart man.
He knows. So, did you want to talk about the Debo thing, Javi? Give your take, because
me
and Andrew opened it up with this. So
I don't think it's worth anybody's time, to be honest. Right? It's like we saw how Kyle looks at Samuel. Like, and I understand the logic behind it. Yes, potentially the contract could get weird, but I think the Niners are willing to pay him. And I think people really need to look at the contracts of Adams and Hill, both of which are near $22 to $23 million a year, not 28 and 30, because both of them void years.
Jordan made a great point. The Packers didn't lose Devontae Adams because they didn't want to pay. They were willing to pay him whatever it is that he wanted. Adams said, "I'm out. Like, I want to go over here."
Yeah.
Hill, the Chiefs drew a line in the sand and they said, "We're not paying you that. Go look for something." So
Exactly.
the situations don't correlate. Keep going, Hobby.
Right. Yeah, and and with Debo, it's like it's not that the Niners should they trade him? Absolutely not. Would they? Is the question of would comes up because of what happened with DeForest Buckner. Like, that's why we have this conversation. And I think it's naive for fans to think that they wouldn't, because it's still on the table. Like, if John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan can see, like, example, if the fucking Jets came up and said, "Hey, pick 4 for Debo," I'm sorry, guys, Kyle Shanahan is taking that.
I would too. And I'm sorry that you have to hear that from me. The pick 4, you were talking about getting your supreme edge rusher, your cornerback 1, your wide receiver 1. Like you understand that
exists.
Right. And
right.
That's the thing, man. It's just, again, it's about the package. I don't think the 49ers are going to do anything about that. But a number 4 pick, oh my God.
Now, would the Niners if the Niners could redo the Defoe thing, I think they would. I think they'd rather just keep Defoe as opposed to pick 3. But if, trading Debo for pick 4, if it nets you Sauce Gardner and Sauce becomes CB1 for the next 10 years, then you win the trade. You don't even think twice about it. But that's the kind of conversation that they're having. Everyone's on the line. Twitter GMs think this and that. Well, guess what, guys? The Niners were thinking the same things we were thinking last year about the quarterback position, because they went and did it publicly. So those are the things that irritate me about the Niners wouldn't do this, the Niners wouldn't do that. Yeah, the Niners probably would think about it. Kyle Shanahan's mentioned 100. How many times do you have to say it in the press conference? He's like, if Bill Belichick became available, I hope the team looks at him. Like, how many times did Kyle have to say that? Like, he said that before, and it's not hyperbole. And
also,
Kyle believes that.
And remember when that report was out there about the 2 seconds for Jimmy, and he was like, "You think that there was 2 seconds out there for him, and I didn't talk to his coach?" Like that again. It's about what you can get. It's everyone's available for the right price. That's what it should be about.
$1 Million Man Ted DiBiase once said that everybody has their price. I just had to shoehorn.
Wow.
I just had to shoehorn a wrestling thing in there.
I love it.
You need to trade hats, because that hat,
it matches the WrestleMania shirt very well.
I love the Griswold hat. I just have the white one. I have a tough time putting it on. I just keep it in a plastic bag because I'm just scared to get it messed up.
Since I don't get to talk to Andrew very often, I will say this: Ultimate Warrior was my favorite wrestler before.
Wow. Ultimate Warrior. Okay.
Bro, because I swear to God, like this is, we're off on a tangent. I would run, like he would come on the TV.
Run down.
I would run down the steps and literally stand behind my couch and do the whole shake on the couch. Like, I swear to God. Like, I would do that all the time.
So here's the question that we'll end this all on. And we've been talking about 49ers and everything. And I brought up Batman. I brought up Spider-Man. I've given some controversial hot takes. Let's give our biggest hot take in terms of wrestling. Who's the GOAT? Who is the GOAT? Like, there is, in football, there's a GOAT. In basketball, there's a GOAT. In baseball, there's a GOAT. Who's the GOAT of wrestling? And I'll finish last. I want to start with Javi, and then we'll go to Andrew, who is far more knowledge than we are. At this point, I'm just going to take a back seat. But I'll start with you, Javi. Javi, the GOAT of wrestling, of professional wrestling, all time.
I stopped watching in 2005.
Ariel says Hogan.
But the effect that
Jesse says Ric Flair.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has on a crowd now and back then, I will have The Rock as the GOAT. An honorable mention is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are my two. Those two changed wrestling, in my opinion. That Attitude Era was
Christ, man.
They're boring. You can win with them, but they're just boring.
You're watching Andrew Pasquini literally turn into Rich Madrid. We haven't watched the tape.
I think
carried that entire era. So they're not the Jimmy Garoppolos of wrestling. They're more like the Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen of wrestling for their time.
Listen, okay. I think there's a bajillion ways to answer this.
Daniel Bryan,
a bajillion.
There's a lot. Dare I say, a plethora of ways of answering this question. So listen. If we're talking about the GOAT of wrestling, the greatest of all time in terms of full package,
for sure,
It's got to be Dwayne. I'm sorry. Like, I know, Javi, I like to troll you. I love doing all that. It's got to be Dwayne. It's got to be The Rock. The charisma, the ability on the
Dwayne.
microphone, his ability, the most electrifying man, and the millions and millions. The man's.
He did the Niners Super Bowl hype video. Like, he did not want to go through their fucking TV when that thing was on.
But like, as I said, I think there's a lot of ways to answer. The greatest on-screen character of all time, it's got to be Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Yes.
What he did to set up the Attitude Era, the way he used the boss angle, he built Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin, great wrestler, fantastic, all that stuff.
Underrated.
Oh yeah, well, I'll get to him. There's a lot of names. This is my watch the tape moment. Give it to me.
Go for it.
But because without Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Stone Cold probably never reaches the level he is, because Vince's character was so good, and Stone Cold got the chance to give the middle finger to his boss. Most influential in that era, it's hard to go against Mick Foley. Mick Foley went in there, made everybody look like a superstar. Every rivalry he was in, Triple H, The Rock and Sock connection, we love to see it. The Undertaker, things like that. I think Mick Foley deserves conversation. We go to current days, it's hard to go against John Cena. If you want to believe the fake titles and all the records, 16-time world champion tied with Ric Flair, Stacy Keibler's up there, especially the way she walked into that ring. John Cena's up there, but even too, and nowadays, because when you guys watched it, it was about the character, and it still kind of is about the character. But the reason I watch professional wrestling is just athletic dudes. That sounds weird, but athletic guys kind of doing things you've never really seen before. And that's where I think Bryan Danielson comes in. He is the modern day Bret Hart. Bret the Hitman Hart definitely deserves as much credit as he deserves as well. But Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, some kids call him in the WWE. His in-ring ability, his in-ring presence, the way he does things, I feel like it's more appreciated than what Bret Hart did, because Bret Hart was the very, very good wrestler in an era where characters were very important. I mean, Christ, man, we had a guy who was dead for 25 years running the character thing with The Undertaker, who deserves that conversation. But Bryan Danielson, in an era where not physical, but technical wrestlers, the people who appreciate the art of professional wrestling, Bryan Danielson's up there. I got to shout out CM Punk, but if we're talking pound for pound, the greatest wrestler of all time and what he meant for professional wrestling, I don't care about Hulk Hogan. I don't care about anybody in this era. They set it up. It's got to be The Rock. It's got to be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He is the greatest wrestler of all time for everything he has done. Stone Cold's up there. Vincent Kennedy McMahon's up there, but The Rock. He really became the first mainstream star to come out of the WWE. I know Hulk Hogan was big and Andre the Giant was big, but The Rock was the first one that really, it never seemed to. And see, that's the thing. That's the fun thing about wrestling, is Ray saying the Montreal Screwjob. I didn't even say the name Shawn Michaels. I didn't say the name Triple H.
Shawn Michaels is way further up there than people want to know. And Triple H just retired. And I was like, oh my God, Triple H retired? He's one of the GOATs.
Yeah. That whole era has 6-7 guys that are easy top 10. And it's Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Triple H.
Kane deserves a little bit.
You have to remember too is WWF what it was for them. It was WWE later on. They were fighting for their lives because WCW was dominating them. They were, man. They had Sting, they had Hogan, they had all those guys. And everything changed when The Rock, Stone Cold, all those guys, and they were able to shift it back. But they were in a bad way. They were close to folding.
Here's a fun one. Do you know the story? Do you know the story of when WWE officially took over the Monday Night War? Do you know that story? Very interesting one. So WCW,
go for it.
WCW was at the peak of their popularity. WWE was closing in on it. This was at a time where Monday Nitro was ran live.
Yeah.
And Monday Night Raw was run on tape delay. And Monday Night Raw, their tape delay episode, you know what happened, whatever. And Mick Foley won the WWE title. It was a very famous, like, big Stone Cold pop. He hits the stunner. Mick Foley beats, I believe, Triple H. That happens. It's a tape delayed episode of Raw. And as that night is going into the main event period, because remember, they ran the same time, except one was live, one wasn't. Monday Nitro said, oh, well, you know what? We got news that Monday Night Raw, Mick Foley wins the WWE title tonight. Thinking like, oh, we're spoiling it. People are going to stay here. Everybody fucking loves Mick Foley. Mick Foley is one of the most beloved wrestlers in wrestling history. Everybody went to Monday Night Raw to watch Mick Foley. And that was the last time WCW had the higher ratings on Monday night. So Monday Nitro screwed themselves by spoiling that Mick Foley was winning the title, and the Monday Night Wars were over. So there's your fun wrestling.
Can I?
That's awesome that we and the comment section I would have thought would have died off a little bit when we moved over to this. Oh, it's lit now.
I have one real thing. Andrew, you're the wrestling guy.
Yes.
Am I wrong to think an underrated, not long enough tenured tag team that was around, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, they should have ran a little bit longer?
Oh, yeah. Listen, man. Obviously, Benoit's a very gray area to talk about.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about.
It's very hard to talk about
when he's alive and during his wrestling time. Jericho, Benoit, those two
technical wrestler. Chris Benoit is up there, man. Like he just and that's the part that I remember. But yeah, it's obviously hard to talk about him without thinking about what happened. I mean, WWE did enough where they struck him away from like everything. Like there's no. It's almost like he never existed.
What's crazy too about this wrestling conversation, we just listed all. We didn't even mention Chris Jericho, who's in his 50s and who's in his 50s and is still reinventing himself in AEW. He has a brand new character again. Like this is the 40th different iteration of Chris Jericho. And he's still out here. He stopped drinking alcohol. He's lost a bunch of weight. Looks really good. Jericho's a name that needs to be mentioned too for all-time greatest.
You will never
ever
disrespect Chris Jericho again on here, and that's the perfect place to end this. Shout out to Javi, Andrew, everybody who called in. Shout out to everybody who joined the member squad, the Spicy Squad. I appreciate you guys. We're going to do this weekly, but remember, you have to be a member to join in. Just trying to make sure that we have the loyal people in here who are going to continue with everything, and we're going to keep everything on the up and up. Javi, let them know where they can find you, where they can find your channel. You did two podcasts today. I
didn't expect Jordan to make that reference.
Andrew just made the list. Yeah, there you go. You're in.
That was very good Jericho too.
Let everybody know where they can find you and the two prospects that you spoke to today, which are just guys that are going to be going pretty highly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks guys for having me on. The channel is just Fourth and Goal Podcast on YouTube. You can check it out on Apple, Spotify, where the podcasts are found. So these last two episodes are episodes 201 and 202. Cracked that 200 finally. Today we had Khalil Shakir, Boise State wide receiver. Excellent interview. Even better person. Had a lot of stuff after the show that was really cool with the Niners and him. That's a plus. And then Sean Ryan, offensive tackle, offensive guard, maybe center out of UCLA. Also gave me another 30 minutes on his with that. He is set to visit the 49ers as well. So that's all he's coming up for that. So two guys that 49ers fans should be looking at closely. The Niners do need another wide receiver, and the Niners do need to figure out what they're going to do along the offensive line. Both guys fit the profile. But as always, just check it out at the Fourth and Goal Podcast on YouTube.
Absolutely. Andrew, tell everybody what podcast you run and where they can find that podcast.
Luis, we did forget to mention Eddie Guerrero. He's up there too. Yeah. So I have this little podcast. It's called the Sprint Ride Option Podcast with some guy named Jason Aponte. We go live kind of right now whenever we feel like it. We don't have a schedule. It's just whenever anything happens. During the regular season, we're typically live Mondays and Fridays, pre and post game previews, all that fun stuff. You can find me on Twitter if you brave through all my wrestling and baseball and soccer tweets.
The soccer tweets are getting abundant at this point.
You get some below average 49er takes. So that's kind of what I'm here for. So you can follow me at Pasquini Andrew if you want just really weird tweets. I think I tweeted a Mandy Patinkin tribute.
I love it.
Dude, when I was so mind
Princess Bride, bro.
Princess Bride, but he's in Criminal Minds, dude. Like he's in Criminal Minds. I didn't know it was him. I love him. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. All-time great character. We've gone sideways, but that's kind of what my Twitter page is. We just go side. A plethora of tweets to go
This
through.
is it, yo. Please,
it's
guys,
the
take
word of
take
the
this
day.
to Twitter. It's the word of the week. Averly watches everything on PBS, and they have the word of the week. The word of the week is plethora right now. And please take this to Twitter so we can make a joke out of it, please, man. It was used properly. It was used properly, Andrew. I'm proud of you, bro. I'm just saying. I didn't notice that coming.
Just to give you an idea of how much I tweet about things other people don't care about, I have my fantasy baseball draft in about 10 minutes. So you're going to be getting some tweets about that as well. So get through all that fun stuff, and you can have my average to below average.
Take Aaron Judge 1. I don't know how that
I think Aaron Judge. I don't think Judge
hit 2 homers today, and the Yankees are sending the bag. Apparently, that's what my sources tell me.
Oh,
Jimmy
Randazzo, is that your source?
Jimmy unfollowed me, man. Me and Jimmy got beef. He unfollowed. Yeah, that's it hurt. It hurt a lot. It really hurt a lot, man. He unfollowed me, man.
This is year 12 of a keeper league I've been doing with some friends. So
nice.
So
Aaron Judge won.
Judge got kept. I'll take Giancarlo for you.
Nice.
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, but shout out to everybody that was in here. Make sure while you're here, make sure you like the video, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to this lovely man's podcast, his channel, everything, man. This is the Godfather, right? Like in old school, the guy who kind of like, sets everything up for the fraternity. I don't know if I'm Vince Vaughn just because I'm super tall. I guess we can put me in that lane, but Javi is the guy who kind of started all of this or whatever too as well. So you guys got to tap in with him. You know that me and Andrew are going to be doing Sprint Right Option podcast. We will be doing these call-in shows. So make sure if you want to be included, you want to have your thoughts heard, join the Spicy Squad, man. I mean, I would join, and I would throw up the community tab and post for you guys so you can, join in everything. Shout out to everybody who called in. And for Andrew, for Javi, for Jason, let's go Niners, and thank you guys for tapping in. Appreciate you.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, hey yo. I'm just gonna watch your wrestling.
Hey there. Welcome everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.